Hi, here is Liprandi and this is Alf, made by Simba in 1988. So yes, this is a vintage action figure made back when the show was still on. But first of all, if you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to our channel. We are reviewing our huge collection of vintage toys. So who is Alf? American comedian and puppeteer Paul Fusco created the character of Alf, the alien life form, in 1984 while fooling around with friends and family and using a weird-looking puppet that he already had. He was probably spoofing another friendly alien from just a couple of years earlier, E.T. He soon developed the idea into a sitcom, which was produced in 1986 by Bernie Brillstein, a man who was behind many classics from the 1980s, including Blues Brothers and Ghostbusters. Fusco himself voiced and puppeteered the main character, Gordon Shumway, aka Alf, a wisecracking adult alien from the exploded planet of Melmac with an appetite for cats, whose spaceship crashed into a family's garage. The family decided to rescue the creature and to keep him with them until he wasn't able to fix the spaceship and fly away. But they had to keep him secret, otherwise the government would have captured him and tortured him with tests. From this point you had all the clichés of an American sitcom from the 1980s. Husband and wife, a teenage daughter, younger son, and silly, annoying neighbors. But Alf the puppet was actually funny. The humor was more stingy than in most sitcoms, and also the creature's design, although it wasn't cute, was instantly recognizable and a perfect fit for the character. It was also quite expressive for such a simple puppet. Several episodes managed to deal with important and deep topics in a convincing way, and as a result, the show worked. It was funny and entertaining, and it lasted for 4 seasons, spawning 2 animated TV shows. One was a prequel about Alf's adventures on his native planet, Melmac, while the other one saw him as the main character in some classic tales. The original show was ended abruptly in 1990 with a cliffhanger episode, A Sad One, at the end of which Alf was captured by the government right when he was about to meet with his fellow Melmacians.
Wait! Wait! Don't leave me!
The 5th season was never made, so the story remained open until 1996 when a TV movie starring Martin Sheen entitled Project Alf was made and closed the chapter. Although Alf's character was always the same and funny, the movie felt as if everything else was missing. Since then, Alf never stopped appearing on talk shows, TV shows, and sitcoms, including Mr. Robot and Young Sheldon, and he is always voiced by Fusco. It was an unusual sitcom. Having a puppet as your protagonist made the whole production much more complex, starting from the sets, which had to be built with a series of secret tunnels and trapdoors for the puppeteers to hide in. And reportedly Fusco has always been very jealous about his character and about the puppet. Alf became a public personality, a very popular one, and such popularity was well deserved. From 1986 to 1990 all sorts of Alf gadgets and merchandising products were made, but as kids from the 1980s we have always thought that a 4 to 5 inches tall action figure, maybe flocked, would have been the perfect form for Alf. Little we knew that such a toy actually existed, and it shouldn't be surprising that it was made by Simba, a German toy company founded in 1982 which soon specialized in flocked action figures with removable clothes, starting with a line called Bear Family, which was actually an imitation of the famous Japanese Sylvanian families made by Epoch. During the 1980s and early 1990s, the company also made similar action figures for several properties and characters, including Fievel or DuckTales. Simba's Alf came in a window box, sporting logo and images from the original live-action show, so these toys were not made for the animated series, and that is exactly what we want. We read a couple of catchphrases from the show, one of which seems to be title for this toy line, as it was also printed on all the figures. Null problema, of course, this is a German box, think of no problem. On the back we have a small bio, again it is in German, but we don't know of many other countries where these toys were distributed, although we have Italian and French translations on the sides. We learned that his real name is Gordon Shumway, that he was born on Melmac in 1757, really. He's got 2 birthdays, he doesn't have a wife, but he's looking for one, and he's got 2 jobs. In fact, he used to work as a planetary guard, an orbital guard, and that explains why he wasn't on the planet when it exploded. And he also works as a male model. Now let's take him out of the box. Inside we have an advertising for the Bear family, which was the main toy line for Simba back then. And now we have 2 Alfs to show you, but we know that 4 existed. There was this one in a superhero costume, or maybe it should be a wrestler, this one in pyjamas, then there was one in a blue suit with a red tie, and one with white pants and a red shirt. We are almost sure that no other versions of Alf were made, and none of the other characters. So it's a bit of a shame, but we didn't have any humans, not even Willy. But if you happen to have some of those classic TV characters made by Mego in the 1970s, they will work perfectly with Alf. The figure stands 12 centimeters tall, it is made in hollowed out vinyl, and we can move his head from side to side, move the arms forwards and backwards, and move the legs forwards and backwards. It's not much, but Alf is not a ninja after all. The clothes are simple but made well enough to fit properly on the figure, and they can be easily removed to reveal a naked Alf body, which looks the way he did most of the time in the show. The entire surface is flogged, so we can't read any markings or copyrights, but we do have some color highlights, pink inside the mouth, white for the teeth, and some dark shadows on his long nose. The eyes, on the other hand, are 2 shiny black beads glued in position. And the overall result is quite impressive. This figure looks exactly like Alf. It is simple enough to be a fun toy if you want to play with it, but it is also faithful enough to look great on display. A closer inspection will reveal that they actually glued a fabric tongue inside of his mouth. Sadly, flocked toys are always quite delicate, so if you find one of these Alfs in used conditions, such as this one in my left hand, it might be suffering from some missing flocks here and there. We used to watch the show when we were kids and we enjoyed it. And also rewatching it today, as adults, we can still appreciate the comedy. Of course, we loved the toys and action figures back then, and we still do, and we have been studying and loving and collecting toys for decades, so it's something we know a lot about. But we didn't even know that these toys existed until maybe 2 months ago, so we dare to say that these action figures are uncommon, to say the least. What is surprising about them is that they are exactly what we wanted for Alf when we were kids. Of course, Alf is a very popular character all around the world, especially in the United States, so we are quite sure that also American collectors would love this toy. It is a European toy, but even here in Europe not many will know it or remember it. So let us quote Pixel Dan and say, "Happy hunting, my friends." But before you spend a lot of money in one Alf that maybe a collector might have brought to the United States, look for it on the European market. It is rare, and we are sure that every collector would love it, but it is also quite obscure, and not many collectors are looking for it right now because they don't even know that it exists. So chances are that if you find one of these on the market, it might even be not too expensive. Now, we hope that you have found this toy funny as we do. It's fantastic, it looks great, and we are really happy to have found 2 of them. This one was in used but decent conditions, and this one was brand new. Wow! Now, please let us know what you think of this video in the comments below. We will answer to everyone. Click on the like button and subscribe to our channel. Ciao!